This is Andy Tube. In this video, I'm going to show you how to remove, replace, and set the height on a pressure bar for the model Singer Model 301A. We're going to do all that on this machine. Oh no, my pressure bar is dirty. Okay, to get started, we want to remove any pressure foot and thumb screw that you have on the machine, because we're going to have to pull that needle bar up out of the machine. The next thing that I do is lighten the pressure on the pressure bar. I turn that adjusting thumb screw to the left a little bit to lighten the pressure on there. Okay, and I want to keep this in a little bit for a while because I want to loosen this screw. This is the pressure bar guide that pokes out the side of the machine over here, right there, and it rides along the top of the pressure bar lifting lever. Okay, and so when you lift that up, it's raising the pressure bar up by raising the guide up, and the pressure bar is kept in place as it goes through the guide by this set screw. So I want to loosen that screw right now. See how I can show you this without blocking. Get a well-fitting screwdriver blade in there, and it's loosens to the left, lefty loosey. If this screw is stubborn for you, you can try using a penetrating oil. You can try warming it up and with a, like a hair dryer, to loosen some varnish oil in there. Now that I know I'm going to be able to loosen it, okay, I'm not going to really take that screw out. I'm just going to loosen it up good. And then I'm going to go ahead and remove that thumb screw, take it all the way out. It's a long one, huh? And then this part is called the extension pin, and I'm just going to push it up right out of the hole for that thumb nut. And as I lift it up, you can see it's bringing the pressure bar spring right with it. That's real common. This spring is kind of twisted on the end, little nub there. So if it doesn't come out with it, you can get it out later, but it usually comes out with it. Okay. Then there's a couple choices here. First, I want to see if I can turn the pressure bar around, and I can, which means it's not like frozen in here. It's not stuck in there with varnished oil or rust. So I'm going to pull down the pressure bar, pull it down while pushing this up a little bit to separate the two, like that. In this case, the guide just popped right out of the slot. If it didn't, it could still be riding in the slot there, which is its normal place. And with this down, you can move the needle bar down and make a space to pull it out. To pull it out here if it didn't come out. And that's the pressure bar guide. I'm going to turn that set screw in a couple turns so I don't lose it. Now I can just push this pressure bar up, hopefully right up through the bushing, and it doesn't want to go because it's dirty. It's dirty down here. So don't be surprised if you're trying to push it up and it gets stuck. So my advice is don't fight that. Let's go get some crud cutter or alcohol and let's clean that off, because we don't want to force it up through there somehow and bend the needle bar. Okay, the handiest thing I had is just some alcohol, 91% alcohol. So I'll use that. And I'm just going to give a generous squirt on there. And I'm going to go down here and try and get that old varnished yucky oil off. Now I could have squirted some alcohol down in here at the top of the bushing. I could have sprayed some penetrating spray up there at the top of the bushing and let it go down in there. But you know, this is a place you oil, so the oil always goes down through the bushing and ends up around the bottom of the bar here. So it's pretty usual that this would be dried up oil down here. So it looks like I've already gotten enough off maybe, and I can just lift that pressure bar right up, and I'm going to take it right out the top where the thumb screw was. Don't risk bending it. And you can see it's pretty dirty. Since I have the alcohol here, I guess I'll just go ahead and wipe that a little bit. You see some of my videos on parts cleaning. I use the crud cutter and so forth. But this is nice. This will just get it a little bit clean. Okay. Now the part that's behind here that you may want to take a look at is the pressure bar lifting lever, which also operates the tension releasing lever to push the tension releasing pin to release tension on the tension unit. See that move? And this can be dirty and get crudded up in there. And I have found a few times where this screw has worked loose, and because it was loose, the little pin on the back did not lift the lever, and so it wouldn't release the tension. And people would tell me, hey, I lost tension on this, and I took it all apart, cleaned it like you said, put it back together, but it doesn't move. It could be because this screw is loose and it's not functioning properly. We look for a good bit here. So if you want to tighten it or loosen or take it out and clean it, this is the time to do it, because you can't really get to that screw when the pressure bar is there. So let's see if I can get in here and see how bad this is. Oh boy. Oh, whew. Okay. Got lucky. Didn't have to use any penetrating oil or anything to loosen that up. Sure, it doesn't want to come out too easily. So of course a lot of oil can get back in there and varnish up and get dirty and so forth. So as soon as I pulled out the hinge screw that holds the lever just fell right out the side of the machine. And now you can hopefully see there's just a place for the screw right there. That's the tension releasing lever. Tension releasing lever that moves the pin in there. And there's that little nub or protrusion on the back that has to go underneath that lever, and that's what lifts the lever. So we've got that out. If we wanted to clean it or take the other parts out, we put it back in and just slide it up from the bottom so that little pin will go underneath the lever, tension release lever, and get the screw up in there and see if we can get it started back in there. Now if I had cleaned this and everything, I would put a little oil on that screw or in the hole, but it's a hinge screw because half of it's a screw and half's a hinge. The part you're screwing into the hole is threaded, but the part closest to the head is smooth so that it'll hinge, it'll swing. But that screw needs to go dead head in, all the way in. Needs to be tightened and securely. So I can see it now working fine. It's raising the releasing lever. Okay. Ta-da! And then to put the presser bar back in after you've cleaned it or replaced it or whatever you were doing, it's going to go kind of the same, except we want this guide bracket to be in there because the bar has to go through the center of that bracket, like that. So with the needle bar down, I usually try and put this bracket back in here. It's kind of a little tight area, but I try and get it set up in there. Now I'm just going to put the presser bar down through the hole of the thumb screw, and I'm going to put it through the hole of that bracket. Now that bracket won't fall out now, it's in there. And then I'm going to put it down into, let it go down into the bushing. If you had that out, you could put a bottle brush type of cleaner in there and clean out that bushing. If you feel that you need to, you could remove this screw here and pull the bushing out. Usually you can clean it in place. And now I'm going to keep reassembling. I'm going to take my extension pin with the tension spring and put it in all the way from the top and let it drop down into the presser bar. See, I'm getting that all together now. And then I just need to put my adjusting thumb screw back in there. Make sure that that extension pin lines up in the little cup that's in the bottom of that thumb screw. And I'll put a little pressure on it there. And look at that. Look how easy that twists all around and everything because I don't have this tightened. But the thing is, I've got to set, get my needle bar up now, because I have to set my height. So let me show you how to do that. And what I'm talking about when I say set the height is for any attachments for this machine, including any presser feet, it should be set at the right factory height above the needle plate. So I want to put my presser foot back on here. I got my thumb screw in the foot, and if I lift that up so I can raise that up a little bit, and I'll put that foot back on there nice and secure and proper. Okay, I'll lighten the pressure on this a little bit. Okay, that looks good. Okay, now for those of you that came to the video and just wanted to see about setting the height of the presser bar, this part will show you. Your machine's already assembled and so forth, and you just want to check it. What you do is you raise up the presser bar, you come in here and you release the set screw on the guide bracket, which frees up your presser foot and presser bar. And then on this machine you take 4 US quarters or 25-cent pieces, and you put them underneath the presser foot. That brings you to 7 millimeters, and the total height of this is 7.49 millimeters is the factory setting, or as Singer calls it, 2.95 inches. And then to get the last 0.49 millimeters, I do have a feeler gauge that has a 0.48, so I'm going to use that. But again, if you don't have a feeler gauge, that's the difference. If you can't use a feeler gauge, just use the 4 quarters, because you're only going to miss out on about a half of a millimeter of thickness, which is not very much. But I do have the feeler gauge, so I'm going to add it under here. So out of Singer's recommended height of 7.49 millimeters, I have 7.48. Yay! And then the other thing that this, when you tighten the screw, not only are you setting the height of this, but you have to align the presser foot in alignment with the feed dog or the slots in the needle plate. And to make sure that you are flat on the needle plate, you want to be sure that your feed dog is down, because if your feed dog's up, watch this, see how that changed the height? Okay, so you want your feed dog down, 4 quarters plus 0.48 or 0.49 millimeter blade, and then you can look from above or the front or the back and eyeball your best alignment to make it line up with the line of the feed dog or slot in the needle plate. And the alignment is important, because if it's crooked, your fabric's going to be fed through crooked. Okay? And the height is important, because if you're not at the proper height and you want to use an attachment like a zigzagger or a buttonhole, those are all engineered to be used with this height. Okay, so I've got it lined up. I think I'm really lined up well with the feed dog. So I just want to, this is down, I want it up, but see how it kind of jumps a little bit up there? So you want it up, but push the slack down. See that? See when you lift it up, how it jumps up here because of the lift lever? So push that down. It's only going to go down so far, and then it's going to lock. Okay, then we're going to tighten the set screw in the pressure bar guide bracket, which is what holds the needle bar in place. Okay, then we're going to take out our measurement guys. Take out my feeler gauge and my 4/4, and there's my height right there. And I'm going to set it down, and I'm going to check again the alignment of that foot. On the back side I look even. See, when this is down it kind of covers up. You can't see the feed dog or the slot in the needle plate, but if you go over here by the little toe, you'll see about a, I don't know, 64/32 of an inch of the opening of the slot in the needle plate, and you can check it against the edge of the foot here to make sure that you're lined up. If you want to check your height, you should be able to put those 4/4 back under there. Right? Oops. Yeah, see how they slid right out? So we'll put those back under there. And we got our pressure, our feeler gauge under there. There we go. If you loosen that, make sure you're down. Make sure that set screws really is loosened. Okay. And then we'll tighten it up. So Singer says 0.295 inches, or which is 7.49 millimeters. But if you're not removing or replacing the pressure bar, that's how to set the height. That's it. You can do all of this, no problem. See? It's not hard to do at all. And hey, thanks for watching this video on AndyTube, and I hope you'll come back and see the next one. Now I'm going to work on